Rev up your engines!
Taser Eye says, Scotty, what do you think of the 2014 Ford Escape? Okay, I got a customer with one, and she's got 150,000 miles on it. It's been a pretty good vehicle for her. She bought it used with like 60,000 miles, and she's happy with it. And I've had customers that are happy with it, you know. The only thing that I warn people is, if you're going to buy a vehicle like that, I would stay away from the hybrid versions, because the hybrid versions, as they age, the parts cost an awful lot of money, the batteries cost a fortune, and everything just costs more money. And yeah, you get better gas mileage, but they never recoup the difference between the gas mileage, the price you pay for the car, and then the repairs as they get older. They just get to be too expensive. Unless you can amortize it and put a ton of mileage on it, like an Uber driver. I know Uber drivers that have those things, and they're putting on like 60,000 miles a year, so they are amortizing it with the better gas mileage, especially if they drive in town a lot. But for the normal person, you never get your money back. Sinisa Golub says, Scotty, what do you think of the Dodge Hellcat? I know you're not a fan of Chrysler, but I think they're the best bargain for power and dragging. Thanks. Well, yes, the Dodge Hellcat puts out a really large amount of power for the money that it costs. Now, strangely enough, Elon Musk with his Tesla, his top-of-the-line Tesla goes 0 to 60 and 0 to 100 faster than the Hellcat, because it's got electric motors that have 100% torque all the time. So they're just take off like gangbusters. And the Hellcat costs a lot less. And if you want something for dragging and pushing around, yeah, the Hellcat's a screamer of a vehicle. But then again, it's a Chrysler product, and it's going to break down, especially if you drive it like a Hellcat, you know? But for the power and money, you know, you want to spend that kind of money, go right ahead. There's nothing wrong with it. Just realize this isn't going to be running down the road 10 years from now without putting a fortune into it as it wears out. Eagle says, hey, Scotty, I want to get an Audi A3 2007 manual diesel. They're around 6,000 euros. A lot of them around where I live, so tell me, is Audi worth it? Okay, I'd never buy one of those in the United States. Parts cost a fortune. They're endless money pits. But I just came back from England. A lot of people had them. You're talking about a manual transmission, diesel engines, Volkswagen diesel engine, really. They're pretty reliable engines. And at that price in Europe, there's probably a decent buy. And guys know how to work on there. As long as you maintain them, that would not probably be a bad buy in Europe. You know, they don't last forever, but it's an '07, and if it doesn't have that many miles, because in Europe, they generally don't drive them as far, it could be a decent deal. And what I like about Europe, from what I've seen, is the used car prices are much lower than in the United States, because they don't go by that phony book value that they give in the United States, where they say a 10-year-old car is worth a whole bunch of money, where in Europe they're going for $2,000 US. In the United States, the same vehicle might go for $8,000 US. So if you get them cheaper there, why not? Everything you didn't know, says Scotty. What's the difference between all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive? All-wheel drive systems, generally, they're all-wheel drive all the time, or they automatically turn themselves on and off depending on the conditions, if it's snowing or raining or whatever. Four-wheel drive means all the four wheels can be operated, and you get the choice. Like, you can put it on four-wheel drive high, four-wheel drive low, or just rear-wheel drive high, so it's always in just rear-wheel drive. It's all adjustable, and for most people, four-wheel drive is actually better than all-wheel drive, because all-wheel drive, you're going to get worse gas mileage because you're running all four wheels. There's more friction involved, and you get worse gas mileage. Where a four-wheel drive, you can run it four-wheel drive when you need it in the snow, or if it's raining and you're going to drive fast and you want better traction on cornering. But when you want better gas mileage, just going 60 miles an hour down the highway and drive road, you can put it in just rear-wheel drive. V8 Lover 93 says, Scotty, I got a 2001 Chevy Suburban 2500 with 235,000 miles. Every time I go to interstate speed, the RPMs are running high, like 2,200 RPM. What do you think? Well, your transmission's starting to work. You're lucky you got 235,000 miles. All my customers that have Suburbans have had their transmissions overhauled generally long before that, usually at 135,000 miles. You probably baby your vehicle, so you're getting more mileage out of the thing, which is a good thing for you. But it's going to need rebuilding at some point in time. And now yours is going higher. It's probably not shifting into overdrive. You know, you might check with a good mechanic like me to see if maybe they can do something to the overdrive and try to get the overdrive to work again. But with that mileage, you're going to need a full overhaul in a short period of time. I rarely see them last that long on those things. Straight Line says, Scotty, I got a non-VTEC 200 Integra at 90,000 miles. My timing belt was changed 20,000 miles later than it was supposed to. At idle, 600, 800. There's a bit of vibration. Should I be worried? You know, I wouldn't worry about it. Odds are the guy that did the timing belt didn't do it perfectly. If you find out it vibrates more now than it did did before he had the timing belt did. The guy just didn't do a perfect job. And I see that all the time, because with those things, you have to have it just right. And when you change the timing belt and put the new one on, a lot of time when you let the tensioner go, the cam will move one tooth and it'll be off one tooth. I see that all the time. It doesn't really hurt anything. If your gas mod's just about normal, if I were you, I'd live with it, you know, because you'd have to take it all apart again. And if you paid the same guy, you might screw up again.
So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.